The following is a presentation of The Day.
It is the Division I Boys Championship game in the ECC Soccer Finals. The Cinderella number 6 Woodstock Academy Centaurs at 7-8-3 take aim at the number 1 seed, the undefeated 15-0-2 defending ECC and defending state champion East Lyme Vikings. An improbable matchup, but hey, the number 6 seeded Montville Wolves just upset the number 1 seed New London High School Whalers, so the slipper seems to fit here on championship night. All the action will be brought to you live on Game Day. Game Day is brought to you by Waterford Dental Health. Hey, whether you need a routine checkup, a cosmetic boost, advanced treatment, whatever you need, their experienced team's got you covered. So enjoy the game with confidence and comfort. Schedule your appointment today down at Waterford Dental Health, where your smile is their top priority. Game Day is also brought to you by Philomena's. It's always game day at Philomena's. Great menu, great venue. Everyone's family at Philomena's. They have the premier viewing party in southeastern Connecticut for all your Saturday and Sunday football action. New brunch menu, wing and drink specials, live music, 3 big rooms. Philomena's got you covered. Everyone's family at Philomena's. Casey O'Neill and Colin Delaney. We saw the Montville Wolves repeat as Division II champions as an underdog. East Lyme's going to try to repeat as Division I champions, but they're a heavy, heavy favorite.
No, they certainly are, Case. We're coming here, second year now with East Lyme in the finals. Last year, different style team, 4-3 win over NFA, although probably a lot more heavily favored for East Lyme last year. But this year, really coming into it, undefeated season, 15-0-2. East Lyme is 36-1-3 in the last 2 seasons, with a state championship and ECC championship under their belt. Right back at it again this year. We're on this field last year. Coach Christensen wins his 400th, victory here on this field, and now a year later he's at 420 wins. Quite remarkable.
A lot of parallels between what we saw in Game 1 versus Game 2, but with subtle differences that are worth mentioning. You mentioned that East Lyme, they're state champions last year, and they graduated 15 seniors. That means that this is supposed to be a rebuilding year. When you graduate 15 seniors, including like iconic program players like Robbie Stoddard and others, you're expecting, even if you have a good year, you're not expecting 15-0-2. So this team has managed to come out of the shadow of last year's team with 15 seniors gone and establish their own identity. Montville just did it in the Division II finals, but they were the underdog. This East Lyme team is not. Woodstock has some very interesting numbers to their, I want to say to their credit, but they have had more goals scored against them than they have scored. A negative goal differential is almost unheard of to get into a championship game.
No, I talked to Coach St. Jean and Coach Christensen prior to this game. And I think, Wally would be lying if he said that they thought they'd be undefeated coming in. However, Wally has created a culture of not rebuilding but reloading. And it's a testament to the culture he's created and to the boys buying in. They have an incredibly talented, senior class, going back to last year's junior class. So certainly it's not surprising that they're here, but the manner in which they've been able to accomplish that is quite impressive at 15-0-2. Whereas Woodstock, talking to Coach St. Jean, he was saying that really they're riding on some significant momentum. They had to really win most of their games, if not all of them, the last 2 weeks just to get into the ECC tournament and then riding a wave of success into this final.
Well, a lot of players on both sides, but we always start with the goalkeepers. For East Lyme, Oliver Lopez, the junior. For Woodstock Academy, Eli Susi, the senior. And here's Lopez, going to use his feet as Woodstock on the aggressive side of things to start. Woodstock in the beautiful white uniforms with crystal clear numbers on the back that we can read from so far away. East Lyme in the maroon with equally beautiful numbers that we can see from so far away. Things I look for nowadays are a lot different than they used to be. Crystal clear numbers. That's high on my list. And both teams looking good tonight here in the championship game. East Lyme, to get here, put up a score that you don't see a lot, which is a 5-2 win over Stonington, which is, still a very good Stonington team, a state, champion Stonington team in its own right. And this Woodstock team scored a 1-0 win over Bacon Academy, but also shut out Wyndham. So they had to post back-to-back shutouts to get here.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that, Wally had mentioned that he really felt that they played one of their better games of the season against Stonington in that semifinal round and felt really confident coming into this game. What's also interesting is that, East Lyme tied Bacon Academy during the season, and then, of course, Woodstock moves on with a win over Bacon. So, I think you throw all the records a little bit out the window at some point. Do I think East Lyme's a favorite? I do. However, you never know what's going to happen in a championship game.
I know, having spoken with a number of Bacon Academy players and coaches, that they were obviously very disappointed to not be here tonight. They really wanted that matchup with East Lyme. They thought they matched up well against them. They're such a defensive team. They thought they matched up really, really well with the Vikings, especially off of that tie earlier. And they were shut out by Woodstock 1-0, where they really didn't threaten Woodstock at all on the offensive side of things. So Woodstock is playing very good defensively here in the early going. And here's a high arcer over the crossbar. Sails high. Rodriguez Arenas sent it in. And that's one thing we should note. Woodstock does start with the wind, similar to Montville, who started with the wind. And the wind played a lot of a factor. I talked with Chris Roulette after the championship game in Division II, and he said absolutely. They opened things up when they had the wind. They had to be much more protective when they were into the wind. So right now, East Lyme, is facing that into the wind scenario. So they're going to have to see how they want to approach, their attack here, and Woodstock taking advantage of that wind right off the bat.
Yeah, East Lyme should be playing with confidence, right, because of what they've been able to accomplish this season. But once again, you throw those things out the window, and if you get overconfident, it could come back to bite you, especially against a very hungry Woodstock Academy team who is once again riding some significant success late in the season.
Woodstock plays it to the outside, turns it over. East Lyme, there's Wargo, Ryan Wargo, a grade 8 finalist at Wargo, and is he going to get the whistle? Yes, he is. No, they're going to say clean. I love it. Keep playing. Woodstock controls.
Yeah, clean tackle there. Got the ball, inadvertent fall to the turf there, but certainly nothing dirty or foul based on that tackle there. Good no call by the center official, Tim Bavaris.
So throw in for East Lyme. Last year, that Viking team was very, very physical. Is this Viking team similarly physical? There's a nice through ball to Rodriguez Arenas. He plays it back. Odorsky. And cleared by the Vikings.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this team is nearly as physical as it was last year, mostly because of the loss of the physical presence of Robbie Stoddard. I mean, Robbie was kind of built like a Mack truck and just found ways to find the back of the goal. I mean, they're missing his physical presence, but also, his 29 goals last year. That was one of the biggest holes that Coach Christensen was trying to fill this year, is where are we going to find 29 goals? We can play, we can possess the ball, but where do we replace those 29 goals? And the answer so far has really been Cal Scott. Cal Scott, 16 goals in the season so far, tall, strong presence on the attack, and really just kind of a more well-balanced attack from this East Lyme team.
Midfield. Vikings play there. Woodstock so far doing a nice job physically matching up with the Vikings. So back through the midfield. Gabe Haney looking to slide it in, and was looking to get it into Malarney, but whistle, and it'll turn it over to Woodstock.
So I think what you'll see this year, which is maybe different from last year, is it's just a complete effort from a lot of players, a lot of contributors across the board. And I think this team realizes they can't just look to one player to do all the defending or all the attacking. With that being said, I think Max Montejano is the guy they look to control the midfield, is kind of that playmaker on the field. Kind of controls the midfield, moves the ball east to west. He's been kind of the calming influence and the one kind of motor in that middle of the park that this team relies on.
Trost intercepted. Big ball over the top. Waiting for it is Lopez, and Lopez will settle. Two teams feeling themselves out. They've played twice. Vikings have won both times, 6-3 and 3-0. And your understanding is that 3-0 game was an undermanned East Lyme team as well.
Well, I think there was a situation with some scheduling issues, and I talking to Wally about it, I think it was a game that they were trying to potentially reschedule and just didn't work out. And so, despite that, East Lyme still, came out firing and put up a shutout in a 3-0. So, with that being said, that was a game that, happened back, almost a month ago on the 5th of October. So, teams evolve and change. And talking to Coach St. Jean, he really feels his team has evolved and changed over the last month and is really playing some quality soccer heading into this tournament.
Wargo put it into the 18, and it was headed out by Woodstock, where it's controlled on the far side by the Vikings. Looking to center it back in. And that will go off of Woodstock, so East Lyme will get a corner. And they'll send Wargo, who is their playmaker, to take the corner on the far side.
Wargo is a very talented set-piece taker. He is the guy they look to for an outswinger from the right, an in-swinger from the left, and is a great talent from a corner kick standpoint.
This is where Scott comes into play. Far post, up, and whistle. But Susie went up and got it. It'll be a goal kick here for Woodstock.
One thing I think they need to kind of realize is that the wind is not too bad on the surface of the field, but as that ball climbs in altitude, the wind does get more intense. So I think from a corner kick standpoint, it would be smart for both sides to be mindful of keeping that ball a little bit lower, a little more driven.
Good spacing. Woodstock with the throw, near side. And they'll play it back through. They seem to like to try to get Rodriguez Arenas into space, does Woodstock.
Yeah, once again, kind of, seeing these guys play and having conversations with Coach David St. Jean, he kind of, relies on Derek Rodriguez Arenas as one of their playmakers, similar to like the Max Montejano from East Lyme. A lot of balls through him on the attack. And then, Matthew Hernandez, another one of the star players on the Woodstock Academy side. He's their only first-team all-conference player on that side. Kind of plays that holding center midfield position to hold things down. So they rely heavily on both Rodriguez Arenas as well as Hernandez on the defensive end.
Throw in into the 18, banged back out by Woodstock. It's going to settle back far side. East Lyme going to look to try to put it right back in. Low ball, nicely pushed out by Woodstock, kept in by the Vikings. Dangerous in front. Woodstock finally clears. And Hanny takes it down to the corner. Woodstock can't clear. Hanny puts it back in, and Susie is there to corral it, and he'll push out and tell Woodstock to go. And he'll use this wind, probably punt it. And there's that wind.
Yeah, it's a healthy kick. Definitely wind aided for sure. But East Lyme right back into the mix. I think both teams, Casey, just trying to feel each other out still. It's kind of been, not the precision possession game that we're used to seeing, at this level. I think right now it's just kind of feeling each other out. They've played each other twice before, but I think, once again, as you mentioned yesterday, it's tough beating a team 3 times no matter what the scores were previously.
There goes Rodriguez Arenas. Lets one go, and Lopez is there to knock it down, and Lopez with the all pink will punt now into the wind. This one will die a little bit, but that's a healthy kick, because we haven't seen anybody from that end be able to clear midfield quite as well. So that tells you that when East Lyme's with the wind, Lopez is a candidate to hit one, three-quarter field. I have no idea what the equipment malfunction is, but
Tim Viveris, the center official, with ball in hand.
Entering into the game for Woodstock, number 6, Trevor Gold.
I wonder if there was an injury potentially.
Well, Garrison Biggs stripped on the 25-yard line, and so he had obviously something on under that he wanted to get rid of, because he took his shirt off, got rid of some article of clothing, and then put his shirt back on. So,
16 Woodstock was hurt.
and then Woodstock had an injured player, Dorsky, he was taken care of. So we'll repunt it. Another healthy punt from Lopez.
Yeah, Ali Lopez, confident, skilled keeper, big foot. So you'll see some good distribution on that. I mean, obviously, even into the wind, that ball was well over the half mark. That is one thing that Woodstock will be mindful of this half, but especially next half, as they play with the wind. I mean, that's a good 15 yards further than most keepers we've seen.
Yes.
Over the last couple of days.
Haney with the throw. Beautiful ball right on to the foot of Malarney. Now Wargo with the throw. Gets it right back as it's headed back to him. So he'll turn it over. And the throw will come from Biggs, the outstanding baseball player. Throws a bullet. Gets it right back, settles, takes it to his left foot, cross, in front, and cleared.
Good throw by Garrison Biggs. Big, healthy throw to the box, and then an equally great cross.
Wargo takes it down, left foot, puts it in front, and that's off the crossbar. Up above, it went off the football one. That's high, it'll be a goal kick.
Good pace by Wargo, attacking the end line on an angle. You see a lot of players go straight to the line, which makes it very difficult to cross and bring the hip through the ball. Wargo positions his body in the correct position, gets his hip through the ball. Great cross across the middle there. Those are easy to redirect and just over the bar for East Lyme. I'd like to see that.
What I like, nice steal from Biggs, what I like that East Lyme has done is they've kept the ball on the ground on both times when they've taken it down. Their crosses have been on the ground. They like to get that ball rolling where, the goalkeeper can't see it and the deflections are much easier. That ball in the air is the typical play. I like that they haven't done that.
Yeah, I mean, these guys know how to play the game, and what they've been successful with the last 2 years is the ball on the floor, and you can see an errant pass there, balls in the air, right? So if the game was, in the clouds, I guess we played the ball in the air, but this game's played on the surface here, and certainly East Lyme does a great job with that possession style of attack. And once again, it's a lot easier to redirect the ball on the floor towards the goal than a volleyed ball in the air.
Let's go!
Out wide it goes. Scott, and he'll be whistled offsides.
Yeah, just offsides there. I like the aggressive move. They're going to look to Scott. But once again, their leading goal scorer is 16 goals on the season. Really kind of coming to his own as a goal-scoring threat for East Lyme.
Big foot, Woodstock. They'll keep it as that went out of bounds off of Woodstock. I thought that was off of East Lyme, but
in the early goings here, Case, we kind of talked about this a little bit in the last game with Nico Churis. We'd like to see Max Montahanu get some more touches here. He is kind of their playmaker and their go-to guy. Not their goal scorer per se, but he's the motor that creates, both the forward and reverse, movement here. I think he's got, maybe 9, goals in the season, give or take. In some people's opinion, one of the best players in the league. Like to see him get a few more touches as East Lyme progresses the ball forward in possession style.
Second time in a row that Scott has been whistled off sides. So he's trying to cheat that line.
Well, I think these guys aren't used to this 3-man system, right? Most of the season they play that 2-man system. For those aren't familiar with that, during the regular season, the officials do a 2-man system. So two officials on the field running up and down, each responsible for a half. But with the 3-man system, you have 2 ARs or assistant referees and 1 center official.
Scott with the steal, left it for his teammate who now it goes back. Hanny. A little bit too strong for Biggs, but kept back in by Trost. Woodstock finally settles. Nice move on the outside there by Bushy.
So I think to the earlier point, Cal Scott's got to be mindful of that because the offsides are going to be much more, called and much more noteworthy because they're going to have the 2 ARs on each side really kind of staying with that back line. So it'll be much easier to call those offsides situations. So you see a lot of offsides calls in these championship environments because they're not used to that 3-man system. And Cal's pacey enough where he doesn't really need to be in that cheating position. He's fast enough to get behind this back line of Woodstock.
Biggs takes it and leaves it outside. Vikings will play it through Montejano. Dangerous ball there by Biggs. I don't think he meant to send it back towards the middle. Woodstock through the middle of the field. Touches it out. Gold. Lost it. Woodstock turns it over. So there's a throw by Wargo. He's trying to get it to Malarney. And Wargo will throw it in here. No, he'll give it back to Hanny. Changing fields now for the Vikings.
I like the presence of mind by Wargo there to play that ball quick. A lot of times you see kids set things up. Why not play it early, catch the defense out of position?
A beautiful look as Montejano left it for Malarney. That was beautiful, but Susi got off the line quick and got there.
Yeah, great job by Montejano. That's the playmaker we talked about before, and a wonderful turn by Malarney, almost turning enough to put that ball, on frame there. But once again, Susi from Woodstock having the presence of mind to come off his line. He was a very athletic keeper, great shot stopper. Talking with Coach St. Jean prior to the game, he's been a big part of their success down the stretch here.
Woodstock throw-in will come from Foucher to Bushy. Bushy tries to send it across the field, but East Lyme was there. But Woodstock doing a much better job with the possession here over the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, it's been a little sloppy, I've got to be honest, in the first 20 minutes of this game here. There's been some moments of some good combination play, but in general, not probably as tidy as either Coach Christensen or Coach St. Jean is used to, at this leg of the season, playing as many games as they've had so far.
We're halfway through the first half in a scoreless Division I championship game. If you are just tuning in, congratulations to the Montville Wolves and Chris Ouellette, back-to-back champions of Division II, the ECC boys. Lopez was getting there a little late, so East Lyme just turns, clears wide. Throw-in will come from Foucher.
East Lyme defense led by center backs of Dunn and O'Brien, kind of a good 1-2 punch back there. Solid players, good leaders in the back, good communication. Tanner O'Brien actually first team all-conference this year, along with Tegan Dunn, Max Montejano, Cal Scott, and Ali Lopez. So 5 first-teamers for East Lyme to the 1 of Matthew Hernandez on the Woodstock side. So, like I said, on paper, East Lyme might be the clear advantage, but once again, I don't think Woodstock is backing off from that challenge this afternoon.
Scott goes far post, looking for Wargo, and that should result in a corner kick for the Vikings.
So once again, Wargo kind of being that corner kick specialist. We'll see if he puts a ball in a dangerous spot, maybe learning from the last time he had a kind of a heavy foot in that first one, a little high in the air, ended up going out of bounds. This will be an in-swinger, where the last one was kind of an outswinger, so this will stay on the field of play.
Hard driven, far post, looking for the head ball on the weak side, but not there as Trost just overshot it, and it'll be a throw in on the far side for Woodstock.
Yeah, very pacey cross there. You want to put some pace on those balls for sure and make the job easy for the attackers. You don't want to have to put a big head or a big foot on the ball. Most of the energy from those come from the service.
Woodstock throw. East Lyme doing a nice job trying to keep it on the Woodstock half. Negate that wind. O'Brien looking to settle. Lets it go out of bounds. He'll throw it in for the Vikings.
You mentioned Caleb Trost a moment ago. Caleb Trost has been a real impact player for East Lyme this year. Midfield player, solid, physical, heavy shot. He had a great 8-goal for East Lyme and a goal at NFA this season, an absolute banger from about 40 yards out. So look for a mix of attack from East Lyme, from combination of attacking that end line, but the occasional long blast as well.
Vikings very calmly play it back to Lopez.
Let's go, Mike!
Nice play in the middle. Vikings play, trying to get it out to Wargo. Wargo has it. Wargo in front. Wargo tries to make a move, can't. Passes it out wide, no one home. And now Wargo's down.
It's a great turn by Evan Malarney there on the service from the back to try to play into Wargo, split the center back and the outside back, and then Wargo goes down in traffic, just couldn't quite get enough of a turn to put a ball in the frame.
Good defensive step in by Haney, but back to Woodstock and Armbruster.
It's interesting, Wargo in this last game against Woodstock actually suffered a pretty significant scary injury, and nice to see him back on the field, but you got to think in the back of his mind this might be something that he is, a little bit mindful of. He got kind of, low bridge in the game, kind of fell down on his neck, kind of a scary injury, but thankfully he's okay and battled for another day. But you got to think in the back of his mind that might be something that, he's aware of. But he's a gamer. He's scored some big goals. He had a big goal last year in this game against NFA on that left side, on the same side the field is on now. So certainly he's a big factor in this East Lyme attack.
Well, he plays soccer like a younger brother, and he is, of course, the younger brother. So, and when I say that, I mean fight for every inch, fight physical, banging against people regardless, like only a younger brother can do.
Yeah, he's always been a feisty, hard-working player. When you couple that with some skill, that could be a dangerous combination. I know that Coach Christensen's been very happy with him on the field the last few years.
Woodstock trying to mount a little bit of an attack through the midfield. Armbruster takes his time. There's a steal. Coming the other way is Malarney. Malarney looking for somebody. He's on his own right now. Malarney's going to have to step in. Can he get to the right foot? Saves Susie!
Great run by Malarney down the left side to cut it back into his strong foot. Just couldn't quite get it on the frame. Malarney, another big part of East Lyme attack. 9 goals in the season so far.
Look at Callaway Scott. Showed tremendous speed, those long legs, as he gets out in the open, he can run.
Yeah, Cal Scott really coming into his own this season. Once again, how do you replace 29 goals from Robbie Stoddard? Well, the answer is you really don't. You do it as a collective effort, and with 16 goals in the season, and just someone who's really kind of grown into his body from a speed and physicality standpoint, Cal Scott's been a big bright spot for East Lyme this season.
Woodstock keeping a lot of people back on the defensive end here. Had a turnover at midfield and had no one to play the ball to.
We're seeing a little more of East Lyme's advantage now. We have not seen too much of Woodstock on the attack. East Lyme a little more composed now, kind of settling into the game and kind of being patient when Woodstock has the ball, waiting for that mistake, and then once again right back in again.
There's Wargo. No one home there in the middle.
And then consequently, Woodstock is kind of reluctant to possess the ball, just trying to get out of their back end with some direct play, and that's not going to work against East Lyme because their back four is very disciplined and able to receive that ball and play it right back in into the mix of the East Lyme attack.
Throw in for Woodstock. Foucher to Hernandez, and Hernandez has not had many touches. St. John.
Good.
East Lyme settling in the other way. Trost trying to go out wide to Scott, but mishit there, sends it out of bounds to a Woodstock throw.
I like the idea from Trost there, though. If you can ping a ball to the weak side and catch them off balance, I'm not sure if Woodstock's disciplined enough to hold that shape in transition to keep that going. Just a little bit mishit, maybe more bend to it, but that's a good idea by Caleb Trost.
Woodstock throw. East Lyme pressuring every ball,
Entering in the game for Woodstock, number 20.
creating turnovers like the one we just saw there. Immediately on the transition attack, Wargo keeps it into himself.
Into the game for East Lyme, number
Assistant
21,
referee says
Nico
that ball
Paganini.
just goes out, but good effort by Wargo to try to keep that ball in. Good presence of mind to try to get a foot on that to keep it in the field of play, but just crosses the line.
Fragamini into the game for East Lyme.
Fragamini, a bit of an unsung hero, incredible work rate, definitely a player that would contribute on most teams, and certainly one of the first into the game from the East Lyme bench.
Biggs turns around, plays it back through his defense. Good change there as Trost goes the other direction. Trost tries to find Wargo and does. Wargo keeps it on the right foot. Back into the middle and getting there just a step late.
It's one of the things you're going to see today, Casey, is just the composure of the East Lyme players. And that comes from experience playing in big games. A lot of these guys were either in the big games last year in the ECC Final State Championship, or they contributed, or they were there for the environment. So I think that really builds on the confidence of a team like that to be composed in those tight spaces under the pressure that Woodstock is trying to provide.
Woodstock with the step in steal, but can't really make anything happen, and East Lyme will play it back through Lopez.
You just can't really replicate those kind of environments in practice. And, those are genuine experiences that I think have proven to yield the results we've seen this year for East Lyme, at 15-0-2.
Tegan Dunn shields it, plays it back to Lopez.
Seen Tegan Dunn really progress over the years. Strong player, big soccer family, a lot of siblings involved in the sport, and just really has, proven to be a trusted defender for this East Lyme back four. East Lyme playing in a 4-3-3 with a flat four, and Woodstock playing in a very similar shape in the back.
Under 10 minutes now here in the first half, scoreless. You surprised that we haven't seen a goal yet?
Yes and no. I mean, I think both teams kind of started off in the first 20 minutes here. I don't want to say sloppy, but just not as tidy as we, kind of thought we'd see. But then since then, the last probably 10 minutes or so, we've seen East Lyme really kind of come together and be a little bit more collective in their attack, a little more, surgical. I would be surprised if we didn't see something in this half, but once again, we see a lot of this in finals, championship type games, very defensive minded, very less risk because they know sometimes when that first goal is scored, the floodgates tend to open up. So, we'll see. Woodstock's done a nice job of trying to just weather the last 10 minutes here of East Lyme pressure.
Trevor Gold lost it just out of bounds, and East Lyme will throw it in.
I would like to see East Lyme try to utilize that right flank as well. They've utilized Ryan Warg on the left quite a bit, attacking the end line and looping balls in. But I would like to see a little more of that attacking side on the right side. Can we mix it up a little bit and make it a little bit more difficult to defend and unpunpredictable? With the same mentality, early whips in as well as some attacking the end line and making the ball travel negative for oncoming ball for the attack. So we'll see if they mix things up a bit. But I trust that if we do get down to the half at 0-0, that Coach Christensen will have some adjustments he'll make for the second half.
Vikings will throw near side. Trying to get it to Montejano. Now Malarney. Back it goes to Dunn. Crossover to O'Brien. East Lyme working the flank now.
Moving down the right flank now. Healthy throw.
Woodstock, dangerous, but they get there before Wargo could. Give Riley Wilcox credit, he got there quickly. Touch out, they try to get to Wargo, but didn't connect, he and Malarney. Haney now lets it roll out of bounds, and he'll take the throw in the other direction for East Lyme, 7:22.
Haney getting the work in, up and down the field, really contributing on the attack as well, overlapping runs into the midfield, and always really first those balls. A lot of Woodstock balls down his side of the field. He's always been first at it, so that it's a testament to his field vision, but also his pace of play. Nice job by Haney on the left-hand side.
Nice touch, taken away by Woodstock. And taken away by East Lyme, and then back to Woodstock. So a little sloppy in the midfield, neither team sort of seizing possession. There's Wilcox. Magaga tries to get it to Hernandez. Wilcox with a punt, and Dunn settles. Nice touch to Montejano, who loses it. Rodriguez Arenas is tackled.
Go, let's go, Mikey!
Going the other direction now, Malarney. Malarney with some space. Still on the ball. Malarney tries to get it over to his left foot. Can't do it.
Early in that play, I would like to see Malarney play that ball out wide a little sooner. He had some opportunity, then waited maybe a touch too late.
Good ball in front. And Susie got a hand on it, knocked it away. Beautiful save by Eli Susie.
Tremendous ball to split the outside back and the center back. Little outside the foot bender to oncoming run, and a great opportunity on the goal. And once again, here we are for the third corner kick of the game for Ryan Wargo.
Yeah, Scott had a chance at that one. Wargo goes low this time, near post. Scott really got a good foot, got a good touch on that ball, and Susie, very physical keeper, very strong.
Yeah, Coach St. Jean characterized him as a very athletic, shot-stopping keeper. He's definitely a strong kid and someone that will come off his line, not one that I would run into in a 50-50.
Trost, I love that Trost always knows where and when the time is right to change fields. I think that's... He instinctively knows when things are flowing too much on one side. Susie comes out, off his line, gets there first.
I think Susie wanted to play that ball on the ground there, and Coach St. Jean's looking for a ball out to relieve some of that pressure that they've been under the last couple minutes.
Steal in the midfield for the Bikes.
Oh,
nice touch. There goes
nifty
Scott.
touches.
Scott, and that one's kicked out by Woodstock, so Wargo on the far side will have another corner.
Two nifty touches there, two outside the foot flicks. Great run. Yields fourth corner kick for the Vikings and number 11.
Wargo. Right foot, low ball to Scott, touched back to Wargo. Now the left foot, far post, in front, and Woodstock clears.
That's the fourth corner kick for East Lyme, and all four have been different. So I love how they are varying the attacking style of those corner kick and set pieces.
Woodstock on the offensive. As we're down to 3.5 minutes remaining in a scoreless first half. Every minute that this game goes on scoreless is a win for Woodstock. But you can see East Lyme getting closer and closer. They're just kind of probing, right? They're just figuring things out.
Yeah, if this remains 0-0 at the half, that tends to mean that Woodstock won the half. I mean, once again, not to knock what they've been able to accomplish lately, but certainly East Lyme expected to be up at this point in the match. So the longer this game goes on, to your point, Casey, without a score, I think it's just a feather in Woodstock's cap at this point.
I think the wind, East Lyme with the wind in the second half is going to be a very different team as well.
No, 100%. And I think that's so smart for them to keep the ball on the floor. I think they recognize that, balls in the air are just going to deflate your attack. Keep the ball on the floor, and in the second half, I think that's just going to aid them in their attack.
Woodstock has about 2.5 minutes left of the win before they lose it in the second half, so see if they want to open things up a little bit. Whistle, it'll be a kick for Woodstock, about 40 yards out.
East Lyme's got to try to limit these mistakes in the back end, although it's not too close for a set piece. Goals tend to be scored on set pieces. Anywhere from 50 to 60% of goals are scored on set pieces. So you really want to not give them the extra out, so to speak, right? So, if you can limit this situation, best to do that than the opposite.
Here comes the free kick, 40 yards out. Riley Wilcox with the wind, and that would have been good from 65 yards, I think, Cotton.
That's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. Well, like I said, with the wind, you get to be mindful of that as well. It can sail as well as it can find the frame. But once again, to Woodstock's defense, they haven't had many opportunities like that, so it's a learning process. But with a minute to go here in the first half, they're kind of performing the waning moments here where they have the wind.
Well, they have done a much better job evening out possession, but they haven't mounted any real scoring threats. East Lyme has had more scoring chances. And you feel like East Lyme's going to get one of these through at some point here, whether or not it's in this half. Woodstock has been very, very good about clearing as East Lyme has kept the ball on the ground.
Well, I think back to the Montville-New London game. I mean, New London dominated the second half of play. The longer that East Lyme doesn't score, the more it goes to the advantage of Woodstock. Now, granted, we're in the first half here, but certainly things to be mindful of as they approach the second half in the next, 20 seconds or so.
Lopez will come up as we're down to 10 seconds remaining, and I think Lopez will be happy to send this one deep. He has got quite the leg. And that'll take us to halftime. We are at halftime in a scoreless matchup between the number 1 seeded East Lyme Vikings and the number 6 seeded Woodstock Academy Centaurs. There have not been a lot of opportunities for goals, but when they happen, they look a little bit like this. Trost, Scott, and a save, Susie. That's about as close as East Lyme's come. We're at halftime, 9:40 remaining here before the second half kicks off. Colin, give us a little thought what you think is going to change as we come into the second half.
Well, I think East Lyme needs to make some adjustments in their approach. They've been very left-sided for the bulk of it. We did have that one scoring chance by Cal Scott on the right, but I think they need to move the ball a little bit quicker on the attack east to west to create some of those holes and some of those through balls. Can they play an entry ball into a Cal Scott, lay it off negative, and play it through to some oncoming runs? I am surprised that there's no goals in this first half, seeing the previous scores from East Lyme, the 6-3 win and 3-0 win. But once again, it's championship soccer, and you're going to see a more defensive-minded approach from both sides.
Well, we'll find out the adjustments that get made. You come on back for second half action. You're watching Game Day Live on theday.com.
Here tonight in this Division I game, you're seeing a lot of both, right? You're seeing a lot of thought, scouting, but also just a lot of natural instinct to play soccer. And there's our first goal of the game! Out of nowhere, Ives buries it on the one-time volley. Bobcats 1-0. Still showing that there's chances here. Hegeman takes it down, looking for that left foot cross in front, and a nice little flick onto the goal, but not enough juice on it. Coming up the other way is Danis. Now Allard through the middle of the field. Allard, left foot, pops it towards Glover, and Glover, stout.
He's defending without being in their back pocket.
There's a rebound in front. Glover stones a second one. That Viking team still playing really well. Here comes Costa on a race with Smith. And what a nice, subtle job Smith does. Again, buddy's opportunity. Costa, great look. Coyle steps in, and another defensive effort. Waiting. Costa approaches. High arcer. Back post. And out of bounds. I believe that's going to be a corner.
They got to move.
30 seconds before the corner. Low. In front. Ball's loose. Cleared by Smith. The Bacon Academy Bobcats are your Division I ECC champions. Shutout number 14 for the Bacon defense. Goalie Liz Glover. The goal in the first half from Maddie Ives held up, and the Bobcats are the champions of Division I. The Bacon Academy Bobcats are the Division I ECC girls champions, a 1-0 shutout over Woodstock Academy. And Veronica Smith is our player of the game day, the Philomena's player of the game day. Now, V, this means that if you wear this shirt to Philomena's in Waterford, with your family or with your teammates, free wings at Philomena's for being the player of the game day. I recommend the garlic parmesan. Okay. Now, 1-0. You guys have pitched a lot of shutouts this year. Liz, everyone knows what a fabulous goalie she is. But talk a little bit about the defensive line. You, Caitlin, your fellow defensive players back there, the seniors especially. Just talk about what a special group you have.
I really think it's just a bond we made over the whole entire year. I mean, with Izzy stepping in as a freshman, being center back, Ari normally playing midfield and dropping to our left back, I think it's like the connection we made and the communication we had throughout the game and throughout the whole entire year. Like, we know each other's moves without even having to talk half the time. So I think like that bond really just like allowed us to do what we did today.
I think that's a really insightful statement because you guys play with an incredible amount of communication. You seem to know where each other are going to be at all times, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of anxiety back there. Even when things get very tight, you guys play very calm, a possession sort of style game. Talk about the communication you have back there.
I think it's mostly positive. I mean, if one person makes a mistake, there's 3 other people behind them to correct them and to help them out. And it's always like the saying is like next play. Like, don't get down on yourself because that doesn't help anyone. It's move on to the next play, be positive because the next play do something better than you did before.
Typically, you guys are a possession-oriented team. In the second half, Woodstock started possessing the ball a little more, starting getting more opportunities. What was Coach's message to you guys when things started to get a little more in their favor possession-wise?
I think it was more to calm down, to play the way we normally play. I think we were rushing a little bit, trying to keep that 1-0 lead, and I think that sort of panicked everyone a little bit. So I think his message was sort of to calm down and play the way we play because we were a better team in the end. So I think that's what he wanted to do is like play our style, don't move down to their style, play like how we normally play.
You guys are coming off of a state championship. It was a very special run last year. Missing some very important players, but still finding a way to overcome adversity and win an ECC championship. What's the goal here now moving forward?
I mean, the goal is to focus on our first game. We're not going to look ahead and be like, oh, state champs again. Like, we're going to look for our first state game. Every practice, we're working hard. We're working towards that first game, and we're making sure we're ready for that and not jumping ahead to, like, the finals because who knows what's going to happen. I mean, we have to focus and stay concentrated on what's coming next and not, like, skip forward to moving way too ahead. So I think it's really just, like, focusing and, like, making sure we're actually, like, locking in practice and stuff like that.
I have to give a shout-out to you guys have an incredible fan section of both parents and students. Yeah. It's cold, and they came out tonight and cheered you on. Just talk a little bit about, do you guys feel the love from the fans and the fellow students who come and support you?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, it's a lot more than last year. I think it's like people starting to realize like, hey, we can win. So I think it's amazing to hear like our student section because they're loud. We can hear them. They give us the support. I mean, like back there we had their student section like chipping at us. So to hear ours basically really helped like us stay in the zone and be like, hey, we have to win this for our town. We have fans here that came in this freezing cold weather to see us win. Like we have to like support and we have to show them what we can do.
Well, they showed it in a 1-0 shutout victory over Woodstock. The Bacon Academy Bobcats are the ECC Division I
girls champion, and Veronica Smith is player of the game day. A 1-0 victory for Bacon Academy. They are the champions of Division I in the ECC Girls Soccer Finals. Coach, an early goal and then a whole lot of defense. Just talk about your team's effort tonight.
Oh, man, I can't speak highly enough about the team effort. Great goal by Maddie up top there. Good combination out wide, finish there. And then it's just been their identity. The past 2.5 years, they're very, very comfortable in a 1-0 game, more so than any team I've ever seen. So defense is kind of the way they've won things lately.
We talked a little bit about, before the game, that a 1-0 lead for either team was going to feel like a 3-0 lead because of how good both teams are defensively. Were you happy with the possession in the first half? And I know in the second half you told them they needed to kind of get back to what their identity was.
Yeah, I think first half possession-wise, we moved the ball well. We love playing on turf. Beautiful field, beautiful complex here. We don't get that all the time, so we thrive on better fields. A lot of great technical players, so they move the ball very well. And then defensively, it's been our mojo. It's been our motto the whole year. We've only allowed 3-4 goals against. They take pride in those numbers, and it's team effort, right? A player as good as Leah up top, you don't stop her with one player. You don't even stop her with two players. It takes a whole line, a midfield line, and then you hope and pray that you make the right ball.
You know, a lot of credit usually goes to the goalie, and Liz is certainly an outstanding keeper. A lot of credit goes to the goal scorers, and, Mia Hegeman and Maddie Ives are those as well. But the defense was special. And having an anchor like Veronica Smith at the back of that defense, and the communication, despite new people coming in and new parts. Talk a little bit about some of the adversity that you guys have had to overcome replacing players.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there. We lost our starting center back before the season even started. We lost our starting striker before the season even started. And those are two of the most dangerous players on the field. So we had to put a freshman in, right into the varsity, right into the starting role, right into 80 minutes a game. And V's leadership, it shows. Like, even just before the game, calming her down, talking to her, working her through the game minute by minute, moment by moment. She's a heck of a leader. And like you said, at center backs, they don't get the recognition.
Second half underway in a scoreless game here in the Division I championship of boys soccer in the ECC. The number 1 seeded East Lyme Vikings 15-0-2. But the biggest O right now is on the scoreboard as they have not punched one in. Change of pace now, though. Wind at the backs of the Vikings. Let's see if they start playing a little more aggressively. Let the top open off, the top off of this a little bit. See if they get away from everything being on the ground, maybe elevate a little bit. We'll find out. Casey O'Neill along with Colin Delaney, and it has been a magical year for East Lyme. A state championship followed by a remarkable regular season. Wally Christensen has been here forever and ever and ever. I'd be very interested, and you've talked to him, I'd be very interested if I could get him off the record. Where does this team rank with you as far as talent and performance? I'd be interested to see where he says, because he's never had a 50. No team has had as good a record as this group.
Well, I know he's going to say it doesn't outperform last year's team. I mean, last year's team was the best team in school history. They finished the season 21-1-1. A brutal road to the state championship, beating the likes of Cheshire and so on and so forth. But what Wally and his team has done in 2 years with 36 wins, only 1 loss and 3 ties is what some teams can't do in 4 or 5 years. It's just incredible. But Wally's probably one of the most humble guys you know. He's the kind of guy that remembers more of the losses than the wins, so to speak. And with his years of experience, he's probably forgotten more about soccer than most guys know. But with that being said, very, very different team this year compared to last year. A very hardworking team, very balanced team. Not that they weren't balanced last year, but they had certain guys that really relied on, more so this year. They rely on a lot of different guys.
Well, Coach Christensen has, they are a good example of what a program is versus a team, right? So you talked about them reloading rather than rebuilding. Well, there's one thing about reloading, and then there's another thing with, an arsenal of tanks, which is like what they reloaded times 2. And that's a testament to, what he has here, the East Lyme youth programs, the feeder programs that, the club teams that these kids play for that lead them to where they are now.
One thing of note, though, with East Lyme, They lost 15 seniors last year, which would decimate most programs, and here they are, back in the finals and undefeated. But what's also interesting, 7 of their 11 starters are underclassmen this year. So 7 guys coming back next year, 1 guy who's injured. So really, they're basically, for all intents and purposes, returning, 8 starters.
Including some key guys in the midfield and the keeper as well. So you like to have, somebody at each level coming back. Like someone who can anchor the front, who can anchor the middle, who can anchor the back. You like to have somebody from everywhere, and they do. They do have some pieces. It's going to be tough to replace Scott and Wargo. Those guys are, but Montejano coming back, Biggs coming back, Lopez coming back, absolutely.
Well, 3 of their 5 first-team all-conference players coming back next year, underclassmen. Ali Lopez, Max Montejano, Tegan Dunn, and then you get the players like you mentioned before.
Garrison Biggs.
Garrison Biggs is a huge impact player. Caleb Trost coming on again. So, he's only a sophomore. So really, it's kind of an embarrassment of riches when you think about it. And East Lyme is going to be a force, I would imagine, again next year. But the game at hand, East Lyme needs to find a way to get on the board. I think once that happens, it's going to force Woodstock to open up a bit and try to press to equalize that goal, which might create more opportunities for East Lyme.
There's one of the things I was wondering, and there's Scott, and that'll result in a corner. That's that taking the top off that I was talking about. We know Scott can outrun, especially on the flank, and with that wind, they can let it go from a far, midfield, they can let it go and let Scott run on. Now we'll see what Wargo can dial up with his, 5th corner kick? Low, in front, nicely cleared by Woodstock. Not completely, though. Now it's completely clear.
Yeah, I would have liked them to do something more with that corner kick that came through. It was well placed, and then I think it popped out to Montejano. If we could gather that and put it back in the frame or put it in a dangerous spot, we're going to get some second chance opportunities.
Woodstock. John Drow working on Dunn. Dunn shadowing him, now bodying him towards the corner. John Drow turns, crosses, headed out. And Scott loses it to Bushy.
It's a great job by Matthew Jandro. Jandro, only a sophomore, taking on the legs of Tegan Dunn, who's a really steady Eddie in the back there from a defensive standpoint, and he has the presence of mind to get around Dunn and put that ball in with his left foot in a dangerous spot for Woodstock.
Nice move by Malarney, but he's picked by Wilcox. Wilcox throws it in for Woodstock. East Lyme will play it back through the defensive backfield. Nice touch by Trost to Montejano. Montejano loses it. Nice defensive play by Hernandez.
East Lyme doing a nice job of possessing the ball, but let's see a little bit more off the movement from East Lyme on the ball. So a little, movement prior to the pass to create some space. A lot of it is, pass, receive, turn. Can we move off the ball as the ball travels, north and potentially slot some balls to some oncoming runs. I think a lot of it is a little robotic at times in terms of possession, but that's also because Woodstock is very content with holding their space and their shape in the back end.
In front, shot, Susie down low to make the save.
Nice job by Susie, protecting his near post there and preventing any second chance opportunities. No deflection there. Solid save for Susie.
Scott looking for a little touch, gets it, but Susie gets there before Malarney. Malarney and Scott, though, doing some nice work with each other the last couple minutes.
I like the outside of the foot, little flick through, splitting the back end to an oncoming run. Just a little heavy and a little late run there, but I love the idea, and that's the kind of play that can really, capitalize on East Lyme's attack.
So I have to ask, did you play with gloves?
No.
I have an issue with it. I have an issue with the gloves. Got an injured Woodstock player down near their own goal. I have an issue with the gloves. The gloves, they strike me as a little I don't know what the right word is. There's no word that I'll use that won't get me in trouble here, but let's just say I never wore gloves. I'm just surprised to see how many of the players choose to wear gloves. When you're running around like you're warm, I just never.
Yeah, I think you see sometimes, like, and this is likened to your wife Michelle. She's a big time ultra runner, does crazy, stupid things and distances that no human being would think about doing except for your wife.
Correct.
And other crazy people. But I think when they run in cold weather, they tend to wear short sleeves and shorts, but your extremities, right, hat, hands, socks, keep some of that heat in, so I can see it. Now, on a day like today, I'm not sure if it's cold enough for that. I can say sometimes if you do get cold and you are throwing the balls in, it can be hard to kind of grip that ball. So a lot of the gloves that these guys wear do have, not stick them like a wide receiver wear, but it's a little tacky on the glove itself. So I can see that. But on a day like today, I definitely would not have gloves on, because you always imagine if it's 50 degrees, you start running, it kind of feels like 70 degrees. So I agree with you. And I'll say it could be a little soft at times, with the gloves. I'll say it. I'll get in trouble.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That's the word I was looking for, but I'd be wearing mittens. But we have an injured player, and we have a scoreless game. 32-35 remaining in the ball game. We'll be back in a few minutes. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com.
Here at Game Day, we're proud to bring you unrivaled video coverage of local high school sports. All of it free for you to watch. These videos are not free for us to produce them. If you'd like to ensure that we can keep covering your school and your teams, there's a few ways that you can support us. Hit up our merch store and pick up some game day gear in your school colors. Our camera operators are always looking for those shirts and hoodies in the crowd, and you may see yourself on our next live stream. We get a lot of support from businesses in our community, and if you'd like to join them as a sponsor, send us a message and we can connect you with our advertising staff. Finally, The Day is the organization behind everything we do here at Game Day. If you want to support The Day's community journalism, consider a print or digital subscription at theday.com/subscribe.
0-0. That's your score. East Lyme and Woodstock in the Division I Boys Soccer Championships live on Game Day. Congratulations again to the Montville Wolves and Coach Chris Ouellette for their back-to-back repeat champions of Division II, beating a very talented, very game, and I think very disappointed New London High School Whaler team, which had a lot of opportunities to win that game. They hit the crossbar more times than I can count. That crossbar is dented from the Whaler shots that didn't go down, but at the end of it all, it was Montville in penalty kicks as your Division II champions. They join the Bacon Academy girls, the Lyman Memorial girls, in the soccer champions thus far in the ECC, and the East Lyme Viking field hockey team with a incredible victory over Stonington in the ECC Field Hockey Championships that were broadcast on Game Day with the first ever student crew on Game Day. And congratulations to those two. They did a fabulous job. McGugan and Center were excellent, and the day was in good hands with their broadcast of field hockey. So we have three soccer and a field hockey championships in the book. Tomorrow night we've got volleyball, and this one still to be decided. East Lyme in the maroon going left to right with the wind. Woodstock in the white against the wind. The wind has played a factor thus far tonight, but so far affecting these two teams less than we saw in the first game, I think, because the style of both teams is on the ground a lot more.
Yeah, and I think, for Montville, New London, it was very more direct at times. It was pass, and then direct. So I think you're seeing a lot less of that, a lot more combination play from these two teams. I got to be honest with you, Casey, if you told me that with...
That's a nice ball. Wargo ran on, had a chance, left foot, sailed it high.
If you told me that 50 minutes into this match that we would be knotted at 0, I would say, no chance. There's 12 goals scored in 2 matches between these two teams this season, 6-3 and 3-0. East Lyme, 9 goals themselves and 3 for Woodstock. So I'm very surprised that we haven't seen a goal at this point. But with that being said, I feel if East Lyme does score first, that should open it up a little bit more for them, because it should allow or force Woodstock to be more direct, which could potentially leave some holes in their back end. With that said, I think every minute that passes is to the favor of Woodstock Academy.
I was promised no overtime in this one, so, we'll see if that holds true.
Well, you did say you had a cot, so, we have that going for us.
For those interested in the World Series, after this play here, I will update you that this is not a repeat. Freddie Freeman has hit another home run, and the Dodgers are on top 2-0 of the Yankees with brooms in hand. Biggs out wide, pushes, nice defensive play as he was cut off by Hernandez, and it'll be a goal kick for Woodstock.
Being here tonight makes me feel good for a lot of reasons. One, because I love the sport of soccer and calling games with UKC during, tournament championship week. But it also allows me to avoid the humiliation of being a Yankee and Giants fan. It's been a difficult season for a lot of reasons. And, oh, wait, what's that? Oh, I think Aaron Judge just struck out again. I think I felt the atmosphere change. But it's just one of those things where I enjoy being here watching soccer. It saves me from the embarrassment and trauma I would be dealing with watching the Yankees potentially get swept.
Well, last night was perfect. I got home just in time to watch the end of that game. Tonight we may not be home in time to watch the end of that game if somebody doesn't punch one in here with 28, almost 29 minutes remaining in the ballgame.
Yeah, hopefully Ledyard play their electric bill because we're using the full use of our lights tonight here at Bill Mignock Field.
Woodstock has done a fabulous job of kind of containing East Lyme. They've given up some runs. They've given up some scoring chances, but ultimately they have kept the Vikings at bay.
And credit to Woodstock, they are playing with East Lyme. They are really putting forth the effort to keep this game at 0. My only concern is they haven't had too many opportunities on the attacking end to try to put them above or ahead of East Lyme, which I think could be problematic.
Yeah, they're not going to win this game 0-0. There is no 0-0. This isn't a regular season tie. Right? This game is going to go to overtime, and the more minutes they're out there. I know there's 27 and a half minutes remaining, but Woodstock has not had a true shot on goal yet.
Well, what's interesting is typically as time, dwindles, teams start to play more direct. But more direct soccer is actually easier to defend, especially if it's a straight direct ball. The angled balls are much difficult to defend, but those direct balls in the air, for a defender, it's much easier than a ball on the ground through combination play. So, East Lyme's ability to keep the ball on the ground is their bread and butter, but they got to find a way to put a ball in the back of the net in regulation. Otherwise, it just continues to feed the chances for Woodstock on a counter. The problem is I just don't know if Woodstock can get into that final third to put a ball in the frame without maybe a restart or a corner kick.
So I honestly, yes, a set piece is going to be necessary. So in my very humble observation from a fan perspective, just what I've seen so far, I've seen nothing to indicate Woodstock. It's not a talent thing. It's their shape and their strategy. I don't see them mounting an attack. In order for them to get a really good shot on goal, it's going to have to be from a set piece, whether that's a whistle that gives them a free kick or a corner that they get. I don't see them mounting anything because right here, they're in midfield. Right here is where it stalls. There's really not much in the back third that exists for them. It's way too early to say this, but it's almost like they're playing to get this thing to a shorter period. It's like, let's get this thing to overtime and get the wind again. Because right now, there's really not any offensive identity to Woodstock.
Yeah, I think the only identity we're seeing really is there's been a good number of combination play and passing patterns between, Derek Rodriguez-Arenas, number 20 for Woodstock, and the sophomore, Matthew Jandro. They've had a number of connections there, but the problem is they can't get beyond those two. And, I'm not sure if Matt Jandro is pacey enough to get around the back end of East Lyme to make himself more dangerous. He had that one opportunity early on that service ball with his left foot. But, I have been impressed, I have to say, with number 20, Rodriguez Arenas. He's very crafty and technical, and I can see why he's the go-to guy for Coach St. Jean's Woodstock Academy Centaurs.
East Lyme in the middle of the field. Can't quite get that one extra pass.
Hey, let's go, Vikings!
Back it goes. Re-centered from Rindell. Biggs in the midfield. Woodstock tries to make a move with St. John, but East Lyme keeps it in. Scott, a step late.
East Lyme's in that 4-4-2, but you see because they've been able to possess the ball so well, they're actually getting that third man onto the attack. Almost shifting into a 4-3-3.
Woodstock will have the throw on the far side as we're under 25 minutes here in the ball game.
I think the bigger issue for Woodstock is I think they can play with East Lyme in the midfield. I think they have some ability in their holding center midfield players, the likes of Matthew Hernandez and Derek Rodriguez Arenas. But I think what they lack is just that goal scorer. I'm not sure if they have the ability to take on the back four of East Lyme and put a dangerous ball in the attack with, once again, without a set piece or a corner kick. Some kind of restart in the field of play. So I think that's the one deficit. I think if they had like a significant natural goal scorer, I think that would be a piece that would significantly help the squad.
And there's the midfield again, and yeah, Woodstock I think has done a nice job in the midfield, but it stalls in the final third.
Right. I mean, that's look at the stats, right? 28 goals for, 33 goals against. You don't have too many teams, to your point earlier, that have a goal deficit that typically, fares well. But also looking at their record of 5-8-3, I mean, this really is a team that's peaking at the right time. Not too many teams with that kind of record or the goal scoring deficit advance to an ECC final. But once again, they're holding their own. We're sitting here 0-0 with just about 20 minutes left to play in this ECC Division I final.
Biggs in the midfield. Scott. I do feel like since they've gotten the wind, East Lyme has taken a little bit too much of the top off, played above the ground a little more than they probably should. They should still keep the ball on the ground. They were doing some really great things with Wargo and Scott, as well as Malarney, keeping the ball on the ground.
In fact, I think they've had much more scoring opportunities against the win in the first half than this half. I think they had one corner kick in this half to like 4 in the first half, and they're just not really getting the ball on the ground, to your point, in dangerous spots. It's really kind of been box to box in this second half. There's not been too many dangerous opportunities.
Kick from the 54, Woodstock. Sends it high into the air, into the 18, looking for the... And we're going to get a whistle, a little shove action on Woodstock, so East Lyme going the other direction.
Yeah, just a little push off to create some space. Pretty easy call for Tim Bavaris in the middle. Not really a hard foul, just more of a tactical move that if you don't get caught, works out pretty well. In this case, it was right in the middle of the pitch.
East Lyme definitely out of sync right now.
Another push off there. Same player, number 2.
St. John.
Yeah. Coach's son, William St. John, trying to be a little crafty there. Hard to do it.
Different St. John's. It's a St. John with the St. Jean versus St. John.
John, St. Jean, you're right. My fault.
But he sounds like he's a coach's son.
It does. It does. He's a saint.
I'd like to see East Lyme get back to what it was doing really well in the first half, which is using Montejano in the midfield, getting it out wide to Wargo, and letting Wargo and Scott, who is going to chase this down and can't get a foot on it. But I'd like to see them use that Wargo and Scott more than they have right now. And that is a bad news for East Lyme if Cal Scott needs to come out of this game. Looks like he is cramping up a little bit.
Yeah, you can see him kind of rubbing that calf there. I would have liked him to see, and I don't know if he realized how much time he had. There was nobody near him. He could have probably done a little cut back or even that famous Cruyff move that Mr. DeMora loved so much. to hold that ball on the pitch, and then he could then serve it. I think he thought he had someone in his back pocket, and she tried to serve it facing that end line. So hopefully he can pop back up here. It does look like he's got a little bit of a cramp.
So while he is being attended to, you have some news regarding the great East Lyme coach, Paul Wally Christensen. Why don't you let the folks at home know exactly the honor that is being bestowed?
So I got an email from Coach Christensen. He asked me to be part of a pretty special moment in his life, long overdue and well-deserved. So Coach Wally Christensen has received the news that he will be a 2024 Eastern Connecticut Soccer Hall of Fame inductee in about 2 weeks at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. Wally has asked me to introduce him at the banquet, which I am, beyond thrilled to be part of. I was a part of that ceremony a couple of years ago, and Wally is more than well-deserving. I mean, a guy with 420 wins and a staple of soccer here in Eastern Connecticut. So kudos to Coach Christensen. Well-deserved honor. Looking forward to be part of that program in a couple weeks here at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy.
So Cal Scott walking off the field after being attended to. East Lyme regrouping at midfield. They're talking things through. And with 20:35 remaining, I think there's probably no one more surprised than they that it is a scoreless game thus far.
Yeah, and with Cal Scott out, being their leading goal scorer, it's someone that they need to try to find a way to get the ball to a Malarney or a Wargo, or can you get Max Montejano more involved? He's kind of, not been absent, but I would love to see some more touches from him to kind of generate some offense for East Lyme. At times he could be the best player in the field.
And again, Woodstock controls the ball through the midfield so well, but not really anybody in the final third that's I don't even know how to describe it. Is it a shape thing, or is it a strategy thing?
Well, you've seen the style of East Lyme change dramatically in the second half. They've gone away from the possession style combination play on the floor to the last probably, I would say, 15-20 minutes to a lot of direct soccer down the flank, especially this right flank to Cal Scott and now to Nico Fragamini.
There's East Lyme stepping in, putting it through the midfield again. Back through Trost. Trost looking for that ball to Fragamini.
Yeah, they're really trying to key in on that left back for Woodstock Academy. Through Cal Scott before, Fragamini now. You see a great ball from, Max Montejano, a great ball from Caleb Trost, just missing its mark. I think East Lyme coming to this game, I think subconsciously, when you win 2 games, 6-3, 3-0, there is that kind of, I won't call it false hope, but this, kind of indication like this should be an easy matchup. But all those things go out the window in championship soccer. A lot of parity at this level in these kinds of games.
Rushing in Vikings to try to keep things out of their own end and keep it back in the midfield.
Okay, let's go.
Nice transition now. Biggs looking for Fragamini. Has him. Good ball. Puts it on the ground, and give Wilcox credit. Riley Wilcox got there, but here's the corner kick for East Lyme.
Yeah, no, I mean, a great job by Nico Fragamini to cross that ball. I mean, that's a tough ball with pace, end line approaching, guy in your back pocket to whip it across your body with your hips facing the end line. So great job by him to get it across and to get a corner kick out of this for Ryan Wargo.
Cal Scott back in the game. Wargo, line drive, chipped out, and a swinging volley. Not quite a bicycle, more like a sideways bicycle. A sicycle, and that one sails high from Caleb Trost.
Call it a half volley. I do like sicycle.
Well, I don't know if I can overload Mike DeMoro's soccer lexicon with sicycle. As it is, Mike has been known to be heavy on the touch.
All right, let's go.
Woodstock turns it over. Scott, however, loses it as well. Kept in. Nice turn. Montejano will be looking for that ball in the midfield. They're going to get that Garrison Biggs to throw it in. Biggs has got that strong throw. I'd like to see them go to Montejano in the midfield here rather than just keep throwing everything towards the goal. But you can see right away, though, Bushy's marking Montejano immediately.
Yeah, and I think the back four of Woodstock has done a nice job of keeping East Lyme at bay. Did notice after that last play, too, Cal Scott favoring that right calf again.
Yeah, he's definitely gutting it out right now, but once that thing tightens up, especially on a cold night like tonight, it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's actually probably smart for him to get warm like he did on the bench, get back in, because if he sits for too long, it might be impossible to get back out there, especially if this game does potentially go to overtime. It'll be important for him to stay nice and warm.
Nice slide tackle by Dunn. Woodstock will throw it in. 16 minutes remaining here in the ball game, or I should say in regulation, because there is no score. This is the game on paper that looked to be the least competitive on paper. However, since we all know that is why they play the game, it is not surprising that we were in a scoreless tie. Woodstock has not given up a goal in the ECC tournament thus far.
Well, and as a coach, I think back in the day, we used to talk about these situations. We weren't always, the best team on paper. And I would always tell my teams, you don't always need to be the best team on paper, but we can be the best team on the day. And it comes down to not necessarily how beautiful the play looks, but whoever puts more balls in the back of the net. And sometimes it only takes one. So for Woodstock, to their credit, I mean, they have really kind of defied the odds so far against a very talented East Lyme team.
Looks like we got twisted in the midfield. Player down. We're going to get a player attended to. So while they attend to him, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching Game Day Live on theday.com.
Last year, Waterford senior number 4 on the grade 8, the Olympico kick. I'm here with Cam Dickinson. I don't think she can pull it off. It looks way too hard. I think it was a fluke. Get it done.
I got it.
That was just too easy, and that is a grade 8 play. Send in your best plays and see if you can beat that and make this year's grade 8 Olympico style.
Relive a century of history from the perspective of southeastern Connecticut with the new hardcover book, Front Page News, a century of big stories in the day, 1881 to 1981. This 136-page limited edition book captures the pulse of a region and a nation, showcasing the day's most iconic front pages from its first 100 years. Order today at theday.frontpagesbook.com.
At The Day, our journalists are in your community, talking with business owners, attending town meetings, analyzing data, talking to government leaders, reporting on the issues that matter most to you. Since 1881, we have been serving our community and will continue to do so 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Never miss a day of news. Enjoy convenient home delivery right to your doorstep, 7 days a week. Subscribe at theday.com/subscribe.
No score. 14:47 remaining in regulation. East Lyme, the number 1 seed, undefeated, defending state champs, trying to break through the Woodstock wall. Ball to the 18, in front, and Susie gets there ahead of Scott, and Susie will roll it out, and Jandro will carry for the Centaurs.
That's a dangerous ball by East Lyme. I mean, those are ones that keepers tend to really, really avoid and dread, because all it is sometimes it could just be a little flick on redirection. Sometimes it just finds the back of the net, indirectly. Thankfully, Woodstock was able to clear that ball out, and it didn't touch an East Lyme player, but I think you had Kyle Scott and a couple of players in that mix there.
Magaga on the far side for the Centaurs. Woodstock matriculating through the midfield, but Biggs steals it for the Vikings. And Scott puts it back to Rindell, and Rindell will play it back through Dunn onto the far side. O'Brien and Dunn operating so well together. There's O'Brien. Left foot, tries to curl it to Scott. Knocked out of bounds by Hernandez, and a throw by Scott. He'll give it up to Biggs, and Biggs will take it.
Biggs with that long throw. See, I think to your point earlier, you know, that's a ball I'm not going to throw to Cal Scott with 3 guys in his back pocket. Can we try to throw the ball either into the mix, just overrun by Wargo there, either into the mix or just to a ball that a guy can possess at his foot? Because otherwise it becomes a 50-50 and easy to defend for Woodstock.
And I have to say, I'm very surprised with the lack of scoring chances in the second half from East Lyme. The first half, we saw them really starting to put together some multiple pieces that looked like they were going to get, you know, something in. In second half, we thought with the wind they'd be more dangerous, and in fact, it's been the opposite.
Yeah, you know, it's been kind of very much a vanilla, you know, style of attack for East Lyme in the second half. Not nearly as many goal-scoring opportunities or even putting balls in dangerous areas. They've kind of, you know, relented and focused more on a more direct style of attack, which I guess is kind of a natural progression. But I was surprised they went to it so early. I mean, there's still a lot of time left on the clock here with 12 minutes to go. But at this point, there's been no indication that there's a sense of urgency to, you know, find that back of the net. And as time, you know, begins to wane, I think you're going to find a situation where there's going to become more direct than it already is, which kind of suits Woodstock's defense.
There's Scott. Can he get ahead there? But Susie very comfortably comes off his line. And that's the home run ball that I feel like East Lyme does not need to do.
Well, I think part of it, though, is they're realizing under possession that it allows Woodstock to stay kind of compact in the back. So they're trying to play the ball early and direct because it just has more space, you know, between the back end and their midfield. However, it hasn't been largely successful so far, and it's limited their opportunities for restarts. They've only had 1 or 2 corner kicks.
Scott in front, tap back. Wargo couldn't get enough on it. Good idea.
Almost got the assist off of Woodstock's face. Inverted ball off of number 5. Looks like he's a little shooken up there.
If Wargo had one more step, I think he could have gotten a good, you know, piece on it, but as it was, not so much.
Let's go, Mikey!
Yeah, ball struck his head there.
Riley Wilcox took it right off the noggin.
Tim Barris checking him out.
In the face. Never fun. Cold night, too.
Yeah.
Now the whole side of your face is numb.
It's a Spalding right here.
You're trying to, it's like having when you get Novocaine from the dentist, you're trying to tell everyone you're fine, but the right side of your face doesn't work. I will say that this turf on a cold night like tonight is probably a little hard. You know, the ball's a little hard. It's hard, speaking of hard, it's hard to believe that in 2 days it's going to be like 80 degrees on Halloween. It's going to be a hot Halloween.
Yeah, trick or heat.
Oh, I like that. Nicely done. The trick is the heat.
Yeah.
I have the heat on in my house. I'm going to have the air conditioning on Thursday, so.
We have a strict policy in the Delaney household. There's no heat till November.
Yep, we do too. And you know what I did? I turned my heat on as I was cold. I've gotten less tolerant in my old age.
Go!
So Susie will punt it away for Woodstock. Not a great kick by Susie, but Woodstock is able to get it back out into the midfield.
Really, there's no East Lyme defenders. You know, the forwards there need to be closer on the attack and build off of each other. A lot of these long balls are being played into like a 1v3 or a 1v2. If they can collectively get Cal Scott or Evan Millarney, some of those guys in the attack, together collectively on those balls, it'll create more opportunities to build off of it. But otherwise, it's their numbers down every single time.
Scott trying to weave his way through a couple of people, does. Montejano in the corner looking for a center, and cleared by Woodstock.
East Lyme clearly putting numbers forward here. They've got 3 or 4 players in the attack at all times. I mean, they could really, play a 3-4-3 here, 3 guys in the back, because there's not much on the Woodstock side that's threatening their back end. They've got some guys in the back that can definitely hold that down. But, as time dwindles here, under 10 minutes now, I wouldn't be surprised if you see more players begin to move forward just to create some opportunities. The only downfall of that is now it just creates less space to work with when you add another guy in the attack.
Montejano with room, with space. Played it out. Montejano got it back. Left foot, far post, just rolls wide. He and Malarney had a little 1-2 going.
Yeah, Cal Scott couldn't just get to that far post. Just wasn't quite there. Great ball to the far post. You always teach players to play balls to the far post because there's always an opportunity for a second chance opportunity, but just wide for Max Montejano. Seeing him have a much bigger impact this last 10 minutes or so here in the second half.
Under 9 minutes. Right back in by Trost. Trost did a nice job putting it down back onto the sideline where his teammate could battle for it, but out of bounds. Woodstock will have a throw in. I feel like some of the skill we saw from East Lyme in the first half feels different in this half. They feel like not at the same crispness I saw in the first half.
No, not at all. And I think part of that, once again, is they've been playing a lot of these balls in the air. We've seen a little bit of a change in the last few minutes here. Not too many balls in the air, and that's more their ability. And now you're seeing more chances, right? But really the last, 20, 25 minutes, it's been a lot of direct long balls on a diagonal to this right flank.
Scott for Biggs, shielded. Biggs with a steal. Biggs touching it, trying to get it to Malarney, and it's cleared out. Settled. Vikings will put it back in onto Scott. And Scott will have the throw. We'll see if he takes it. Yes, he'll take it.
And Montejano was sitting right at the top of the 18 there. If they can dummy that ball to the legs, he's sitting there all by himself. Just missed out on the opportunity.
Long throw by Scott, headed out. Back to Scott again. He and Rindell. Rindell, left foot, blocked. Rindell touches back. Scott plays it back wide. Montejano. East Lyme starting to move the ball a little bit. Dump in. Back out to Rindell, now back to Biggs.
This is the East Lyme style we saw in the first half.
Shot, ripped, saves Susie. A bullet from Trost.
That's that heavy foot we talked about in the first half. The one that netted Trost that big goal at NFA early in the season. Solid midfield player, physical, heavy shot. Nice job by Trost.
Wargo, high arcer, far post, just out of the reach. Kept in by the Vikings. Chip, out of bounds. It'll be a throw on the far side for East Lyme as we're down under 6.5 minutes.
I always like to keep one player on that weak side as a safety valve just in case that corner kick sails too far, because there was everyone inside the box near the 6, no one there to collect that ball.
It's like the Hail Mary in football. Have that person on the back side. You never know where that ball's going to come. In front, Wargo had a foot on it but couldn't get enough. And look how far up Lopez is.
Smartly plays it short to keep possession, but then once again, these long throws, these long balls have not been productive for East Lyme.
Out it goes, Callaway Scott, he's got the angle, goes far post, and just a little bit ahead of the running Wargo.
I think that was meant to be a shot, but turned out to be kind of a bending pass there. He had lots of time on his hands. Maybe even could have taken a touch into the box. But East Lyme has been much more effective the last 10, 15 minutes with the ball on the floor. With 5 minutes to go here. Who wants their name in the paper?
Out wide, Scott settles, touches it, and that's going to get pushed out by Woodstock, and that'll result in a throw for East Lyme.
Another big throw coming here from Garrison Biggs.
Biggs can put this onto the 18 and low line drive. A head ball from Scott sails wide.
Remember last year in the ECC final, in the first minute of the first half, long throw, goal. Second half, first minute, long throw, goal. That was kind of their bread and butter last year against NFA. This year they haven't been able to capitalize on those long throws from Garrison Biggs or Cal Scott.
4.5 minutes. Nice touch to Rindell. Scott loses it. Hernandez pushes it back through the midfield to Bushy. Bushy carries. Nice little move by Sangasi. Gold out in front, nothing doing for Lopez. That's the closest thing. I mean, that counts as a shot on goal. That's the closest thing to a save he's had to make.
Yeah, you know, and this is really indicative of what we saw in the New London Montville game, where in the second half, New London really dominated, you know, the attack, just couldn't find the back of the net, and Montville hung on for dear life and ended up coming back and winning the game in penalties. I think if you're Coach Christensen, you're hoping that's not the same story we lived here in this game. But with that being said, you know, not a lot of tests for, you know, Ali Lopez for East Lyme.
Entering into the game for Woodstock, number 25, Braden D. Oliveira.
Handball against Woodstock, so it'll be East Lyme up at the 35-yard line with 3 minutes remaining here in the ball game. So we're starting to get crunch time. Trost will take it. You know he has it from here. Let's see if he puts it onto the 18, drops it in. Trost, far post, running on, head ball in front, and Woodstock puts it in the air. Out again, volley, and Susi is there.
Great job by Trost putting the ball in a dangerous spot. Good effort by East Lyme trying to head the ball back into a dangerous area. Then the ball bounces around. We just couldn't find the back of the goal from East Lyme's standpoint. But once again, great job by Woodstock. That back line is just not breaking down today.
Montejano tries to push it outside to Wargo, but intercepted, now back through the midfield. Colin will make you feel better. Anthony Rizzo singles with the bases loaded, followed by a Anthony Volpe grand slam. Yankees up 5-2.
We're just prolonging the inevitable. I feel like Eeyore.
Let's go!
Don't bother.
I'm happy.
Well, maybe we'll get the ball to Garrett Cole tomorrow night.
Scott. Will that be a goal kick or a corner kick? I think that's going to be a corner. And with a minute 40 remaining and counting, East Lyme running out of time. And this is Wargo. It's about the 8th corner he's had. Let's see what he does with this one. Far post in the air, head ball off the post, loose. What's the ruling? I think Susie hit his head on the post.
Well, that was a header from Caleb Trost off the post. Then ball bounced down and went out of bounds on that near post there. That was a near goal.
And that might have been East Lyme's last best chance before this thing goes into overtime.
Great ball by Ryan Wargo, but Trost just couldn't get that ball down enough under the post and just bangs it off the crossbar. We've seen that poor crossbar today. He's got so much abuse.
That crossbar right there has gotten beaten on. It's been dented.
Although Coach Glennie did say, Coach Glennie, the Ledyard High School coach, did say he wanted some new goals. So potentially this is a method to the madness. We started GoFundMe for Ledyard High School's new goals.
20 seconds remaining in, I can't believe I'm saying it, a scoreless regulation.
I don't know who promised you no overtime, but
I have it in writing. I have it in writing that there would be no overtime in this game. But contracts, I'm going to have to take this one up. This one's going to court. We are at the end of regulation. Woodstock has done the first of the tall climbs. They've gotten this thing through regulation scoreless. We'll be back with the first of 2 or maybe 10-minute overtimes. The golden goal. Let's take a look at how close East Lyme was to getting out of here with a 1-0 victory. Off the top crossbar. We'll be back with overtime. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com.
It's almost here, baby.
It's that time.
Time to work.
It's time to shine.
Can you feel it? We got this.
Here we go. Be ready.
Yeah! Are you ready?
Are you ready? Let's go! Oh yeah! It's game day! It's game day!
It's game day! 1, 2, 3, it's game day!
It's game day!
At the Day, our journalists are in your community, talking with business owners, attending town meetings, analyzing data, talking to government leaders, reporting on the issues that matter most to you. Since 1881, we have been serving our community and will continue to do so 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Never miss a day of news. Enjoy convenient home delivery right to your doorstep, 7 days a week. Subscribe at theday.com/subscribe.
Game Day is brought to you by Waterford Dental Health. Gear up for game day with a winning smile from Waterford Dental Health. Located in Waterford, we're your go-to for top-notch dental care in a relaxed, friendly setting. Whether you need a routine checkup, a cosmetic boost, or advanced treatment, our experienced team has you covered. Enjoy the game with confidence and comfort. Schedule your appointment today. Waterford Dental Health, where your smile is our top priority. Visit us online or call now to book.
Here at Game Day, we're proud to bring you unrivaled video coverage of local high school sports, all of it free for you to watch. These videos are not free for us to produce though. If you'd like to ensure that we can keep covering your school and your teams, there's a few ways that you can support us. Hit up our merch store and pick up some Game Day gear in your school colors. Our camera operators are always looking for those shirts and hoodies in the crowd, and you may see yourself on our next live stream. We get a lot of support from businesses in our community. And if you'd like to join them as a sponsor, send us a message and we can connect you with our advertising staff. Finally, The Day is the organization behind everything we do here at Game Day. If you want to support The Day's community journalism, consider a print or digital subscription at theday.com/subscribe.
So we're going to start the first of potentially 2 overtime periods. The way it works in overtime is It is what used to be called sudden death. We are kinder and gentler. We call it the golden goal, which basically means, though, that if a team scores, they win. Simple as that. If no one scores in the first 10 minutes, we'll change sides, play another 10 minutes until someone scores. And if no one scores after that 10 minutes, we'll go to penalty kicks. Woodstock back with the ball and going into the wind. So East Lyme does maintain the wind to start this first overtime.
Yeah, at this point, Case, let's make it interesting, It could go either way at this point, especially with golden goal. It's win or go home, but let's play two, as they say.
Let's see, 80, 100 minutes of soccer in the first one. We're into another 80, 180. So we're into hour 4 of soccer here in the ECC championships for the boys.
Don't forget the between game hour ceremony.
And the penalty kicks. Yeah, we've got a nice 6-hour day going here of soccer. Love that.
All right,
Listen, soccer only gets one day, so why not, right? Oh, there's a chance here. Callaway Scott has it on his right foot. Shifts to his left, lets it fly, and Susie with a save. What a great save by Eli Susie.
Big time save. I think most thought Cal was going to go to his right, cuts it back to his left, puts the ball at the far post. Susie with a diving one-hand save to his right, preserving this game for Woodstock. That's a big-time save.
Nice steal. There comes Scott. Back to the middle. Through Malarney. Another steal. Montejano cuts it back to his right. Looking for Biggs in the midfield. Gives it to him. Biggs is going to reverse field. Play it back through his defense.
Quick start for East Lyme. I think if your coach Christensen is talking about what got us here, it's that controlled style of attack, dangerous when we get in the final third, putting balls in the frame. In the first 30 seconds, they did just that.
Woodstock will have the throw on the far side.
If you're Woodstock, it's that bend but don't break mentality. It's relying on your back four, the likes of the back four there with a sweeper-stopper situation, as well as the goalkeeper and Susie. And can we capitalize on a counterattack?
Little 1-2. Malarney tried to get it through on the overlapping run. Malarney still has it on his foot. Malarney stoned there, however.
Probably too many touches there. Got through the one defender. I think at that point should have found a lateral ball to create some space, but just kind of got the ball cut underneath him, and Woodstock plays it out safely.
East Lyme has not been threatened. So far, Oliver Lopez has had to make one save-ish. It's a save in the, the stat sheet, but it was really not a threatening ball.
And then as this time begins to tick down, you have the conversation from before. Susie, who's gotten a ton of reps in this game, like the Monfield keeper and Leonard, is that something that we think about if this does go to penalty kicks, whereas Ali Lopez has really seen very little action.
Woodstock will have the kick.
A little bit of a cramp there from Woodstock.
That was Quan Sangasi. So Mugaga will come back in the game.
Entering into the game for Woodstock.
You'll see a little bit of that at this point, right? This is obviously the longest match for some of these players. As most of this situation, it's ECC. They don't play the overtime anymore.
That's why Bacon Academy had 17 ties in a 15-game schedule. They did. They had like more ties than wins at one point during the season, late in the season, because of that rule. Nice flick. Run on, run on, run on. Wilcox has played so well back there. He gets to Susie, but Susie loses it out of bounds there. Now it'll be a throw. Biggs will go over and take it.
I mean, the flick worked out in their favor, but we're flicking on to really nobody. So I think if you're checking your weak side shoulders, that ball is played through. Who are we flicking onto? Otherwise, can we control the possession as East Lyme's been so good at? I mean, really, Woodstock has not threatened from a possession standpoint. So keep the ball, find your opportunities.
Biggs. Throw into the 18. Dangerous where that ball is on the ground. Mugaga pops it out ahead. Lost. East Lyme will once again control. Running on. De Oliveira had a chance for Woodstock to get there, but East Lyme did a nice job just using the body. O'Brien and cut it off. Now, opposite side. Oh, poke away. Toe poke, Matt Hernandez.
It's a great job by Tanner O'Brien, the backhand, to defend the oncoming attack from Woodstock, and then the presence of mind to control it and then slot that ball between the outside back and the center back to oncoming Cal Scott. And with the toe poke, creating an opportunity for East Lyme on the corner kick now.
Wargo will take it. A little bit of, I like a little savvy there of Cal Scott tying the shoe as a means to get a quick little breather before this Wargo corner. Far post, head ball in the air. They're going for that upper head on the backside, and it hasn't been there thus far. It's been just a little high, and that'll be a goal kick.
With a last service ball like that, you had Caleb Trost on the end of it, just hitting that crossbar. But certainly, they see an opportunity in the air over the last couple minutes.
Four minutes remaining in overtime number one. Scott plays it to himself, but a little strong.
You know, they go into that 4-3-3 in the second half in overtime, which has created some opportunities on the end. But I think when they went that way, they played a more direct brand of soccer. I think if they play their normal style of soccer, which is a controlled, game with the additional attacker, it'll create more opportunities, which we saw in the end of that second half.
Bushy out to Mugaga. And taken away by East Lyme. And that'll be a throw on the far side for Woodstock. 3 minutes remaining here in the first overtime.
Woodstock with a rare spell in the attacking third.
Hernandez puts it right back in. Mugaga. East Lyme, clear. And that ball was put out wide by Malarney, but I don't think Wargo was expecting it, and that one goes out of bounds as we're down close to 2 minutes remaining in the first overtime.
Yeah, if this gets to the second overtime, just do what's got you here. Keep the ball. Woodstock has not shown you that they have the ability to break you down in the back end. So be composed, control the momentum of the ball, precision passing, move the ball quickly, find those holes. The direct balls make it too easy for Woodstock to stop the attack of East Lyme.
Jandro puts it into space, but cleaned up by East Lyme. Hernandez able to get rid of it now. Deep ball running on Malarney, but Susi comes off his line. He'll get there first. 1:20 remaining in the overtime. Scott goes cross field. Wargo Back to Montejano. 1 minute.
Yeah, Montejano, the calming influence here, keeping the ball on the floor, moving that ball across. That's what this team needs right now. Little miscommunication there.
Throw in coming for East Lyme.
Now if I'm Biggs here, I'm going to try to find a possession ball. Once again, that's a ball into Cal Scott with 3 white shirts around him. Can we find a ball, even if it's a negative throw into one of my outside backs, can we try to possess that ball?
So the goal kick coming from Rawson. 10 seconds remaining. Barring something crazy, we're going to go into our second overtime period. And we are. So at the end of 90 minutes of play, we are still scoreless. So the second overtime will be back any moment. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with overtime number 2. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com. At the end of today's game, you'll have the Philomenas player of the game. Game Day is brought to you by Philomenas. It's always game day at Philomenas, southeastern Connecticut's go-to destination for events, fine food, and great atmosphere. Offering an all-new brunch menu, wing and drink specials, and live music, Philomenas provides the premier atmosphere for viewing all of your college and pro football. Stop in and see Mike or Sarah sit at the brand-new bar, or reserve your party in one of 3 private dining areas. Everyone's family at Philomenas. And you're also going to want to follow Game Day CT after the game for the Scient Top Play. Pave the way for your students' financial success with a MySci account from Scient Federal Credit Union. Open a high-yield MySci savings account today and help. Woodstock has survived 80 minutes of regulation, 10 minutes of overtime, and they have held East Lyme scoreless. They, of course, are scoreless as well, and that's why we're in the second overtime. If someone scores, they win. With the high likelihood that no one scores, we'll go to our second penalty kicks of the championships. The reason I say it's highly likely that no one scores is only because up to now, no one has. East Lyme has had some chances. Really, Woodstock has had none. I would be very surprised if Woodstock gets more than one real good chance here in the second overtime. East Lyme has done a fabulous job possessing the ball.
Possession only gets you so far. You don't get points for style of possession. You got to put the ball in the back of the net, and they've had some good opportunities. But a credit to Woodstock's defense, they've really done a nice job of just weathering this storm.
Scott in close. Let's rip. Save Susie, and Susie dives on it. He could be the MVP of this thing even if they lose. That's how much he's had to do with this outcome so far.
He's had a ton of saves and really has preserved the lead for Woodstock for sure.
Wilcox heads it back to Susie. Here's the only part of his game that is not elite. He does not punt it particularly well. That one worked out for him, but I think East Lyme has started to shade that a little bit. Unlike Lopez, who's got the giant leg.
Well, we've seen only a handful of those because Lopez hasn't touched the ball in probably about 60 minutes.
Shot up and high, sails up, but that's, I think with the wind, that's what Woodstock's going to have to start to do. Try to send as many balls toward the frame as they can.
And can Lopez stay sharp, watching out for those counterattacks? Sometimes you get lulled into a bit of a sleep back here, not seeing a lot of action, and a quick counterattack and a shot like that could catch you off balance.
Wind gobbles that one up. Montejano and Malarney both had touches. Now Biggs out to Montejano. Scott, Malarney. Good ball movement here through the midfield. Scott a little too strong on the touch. Heavy, you might say.
A little heavy in the touch there. Now maybe we'll see the big foot, but once again, that wind is brutal heading in that direction once it gets up in the air. There's the famous slice reference.
Shoved. That was shoved out of bounds. Woodstock will throw it in on the far sideline. Nice ball through the middle. East Lyme, big boot, run on, but Susie will just wait.
Well, what's interesting about those direct balls, into the wind, that ball could get held up enough where it could cause Susie to be in no man's land and come off his line, which could allow East Lyme to get down there and get an opportunity to put the ball in the frame. But the previous half, most of those balls would get gobbled up by Susie.
Dunn settles it. Goes right back, trying to look for Wargo. Wargo can't get it. Biggs tries to shut off Mugaga. Takes it away. And a big over-the-top ball. Sprinting towards it, O'Brien. And he punches it out. It'll be a throw-in. I don't know that he needed to do that. I know at this stage of the game, you're just not going to take any chances, but there was only one offensive player out there. Shot sails up and high by Bushy.
I think initially he thought, the keeper could have come out and potentially gotten to that ball, Ali Lopez there, but then kind of hung up a little bit. And then I thought maybe he was going to play it back to Ali, and then, with some indecision, he felt better just to put the ball out of bounds. Especially with the golden goal situation, you never want to take that risk.
Malarney in the corner, crosses it. Wilcox has played fabulous defensively for Woodstock.
Yeah, no doubt. I wonder if we can cut that ball back at times. I think a lot of it has been attacking the end line, but can we cut it back and try to find? There's been a lot of guys in the top of the 18. Max Matahano's been there a few times.
All right, here comes a corner. Wargo will take it. East Lyme always dangerous. They have not mounted. I want to suggest that maybe not having the wind helps, because Wargo sailed a couple with the wind. He was going low on it earlier. I'd like to see that again. Let's see what he comes up with. Wargo, low line drive, in front, ball loose, and it just goes wide. I like that better.
Yeah, I think with the wind here, and also if he plays it with enough pace, you get some players that can kind of shield that, let the ball through. Even a deflection off a Woodstock player could create some opportunities. I did like how Tegan Dunn had a weak side run, though, just in case that ball was played through. Haven't seen that from East Lyme up until now.
Mugaga running on to it. Nice defense from Dunn. Mugaga still has it. Taken away, Montejano. Montejano carrying. Montejano in space carrying. Tripped up from behind. That'll garner a whistle.
I think you might see a caution here.
Into the wind, this is not really a scoring place right here. This is 50 yards out into the wind. So this has to be a set piece, not something that's going to end up on the frame. That's got to be dropped into the 18, and hopefully someone, can turn and get a good shot off. If you're East Lyme, Woodstock, you're going to be focusing on just churning this thing out. There it is. Good ball. Head ball into the middle. Another one. Loose in front. And Susie cleans it up.
Yeah, not super productive there. Would have liked to seen that ball headed back either across the 18. You had Wargo sitting up top there all alone or in a dangerous position. But once again, sometimes those balls bounce around the box and find their way in the back, even inadvertently.
Scott plays it across. Stop, turn, fire, and the kick is good. Caleb Trost puts East Lyme on top 3-0 here. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's wrong sport. We're still 0-0 here. But you can see Trost has got the leg. That one was into the wind. That just sailed. 2 minutes and 45 seconds remaining.
I think the crowd is looking for a repeat of the first game here.
I have a couple of administrators here who have been here since 6 o'clock this morning. I was also told that if this game doesn't get over soon, I'm going to be charged overnight rates here for Ledyard High School.
Daylight savings time is Sunday, correct? This is doesn't affect this game.
We have to fall forward or be even later. No, we fall back. We spring forward. See, 30 days has September. I get all these things mixed up. 2 minutes, 15 seconds.
All right, let's go, let's go.
Through ball. Wargo was trying to get there, but no. That one goes off of Malarney. So Woodstock will have the throw with 2 minutes left.
And regardless of the outcome here, I do not anticipate that Coach Christensen really wants to go to penalties. That definitely evens the playing field in a game where they have kind of dominated possession and scoring opportunities, but just haven't found the back of the net just yet, especially with his goalkeeper, Ali Lopez, not getting a ton of reps in this game.
Again, I don't think Lopez has had to make a save per se.
Now, there's that one, save per se on the near post shot in the second half. Other than that, nothing super dangerous.
Whereas Susie has had an active night the entire time. One minute and 5 seconds remaining here in the second overtime.
And I think Woodstock would be perfectly content with pushing this game to penalty kicks because they have not really had those opportunities and have kind of been, weathering this storm for most of the match. Especially with 2 losses in the season and only scoring 3 goals to East Lyme's 9.
And you can see Woodstock is more than happy to let this thing get to penalty kicks. East Lyme, I don't think with 20 seconds remaining is going to have more than the chance of maybe one long through ball, and I don't see that happening. As we're down to 10 seconds remaining. The Division II championship was settled by PKs. The Division I championship is going to be settled in PKs. We have played 100 minutes of soccer. Not a goal to be found. We'll be back with the penalty kick portion, and something's going to have to give. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com. At the end of today's game, you'll have the Philomenas Player of the Game. Game Day is brought to you by Philomenas. It's always Game Day at Philomenas, southeastern Connecticut's go-to destination for events, fine food, and great atmosphere. Offering an all-new brunch menu, wing and drink specials, and live music, Philomenas provides the premier atmosphere for viewing all of your college and pro football. Stop in and see Mike or Sarah sit at the brand-new bar, or reserve your party in one of 3 private dining areas. Everyone's family at Philomenas. You're also going to want to follow Game Day CT after the game for the Scient Top Play. Pave the way for your students' financial success with a MySci account from Scient Federal Credit Union. Open a high-yield MySci savings account today and help support a positive financial future for your student. Visit scientfcu.org to learn more.
Communities that are no longer covered by local newspapers become news deserts that lack journalists providing government oversight and access to quality information. The Day is committed to providing comprehensive news coverage in every town in southeastern Connecticut, but we've had to scale back coverage in some towns, including Ledyard and North Stonington, due to market forces affecting local news companies around the country. We need the continued support of the communities we serve to help fund additional staffing that enables us to provide the kind of coverage our readers expect in every town in the region. If you'd like to support the Day's News Desert Fund, please visit givebutter.com/theday.
Last year, Waterford senior number 4 on the grade 8, the Olympico kick. I'm here with Cam Dickinson. I don't think she can pull it off. It looks way too hard. I think it was a fluke. Get it done.
I got it.
That was just too easy, and that is a grade 8 play. Send in your best plays and see if you can beat that and make this year's grade 8 Olympico style.
Relive a century of history from the perspective of southeastern Connecticut with the new hardcover book, Front Page News, a century of big stories in the day, 1881 to 1981. This 136-page limited edition book captures the pulse of a region and a nation, showcasing the day's most iconic front pages from its first 100 years. Order today at theday.frontpagesbook.com.
At The Day, our journalists are in your community, talking with business owners, attending town meetings, analyzing data, talking to government leaders, reporting on the issues that matter most to you. Since 1881, we have been serving our community and will continue to do so 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Never miss a day of news. Enjoy convenient home delivery right to your doorstep, 7 days a week. Subscribe at theday.com/subscribe.
Game Day is brought to you by Waterford Dental Health. Gear up for game day with a winning smile from Waterford Dental Health. Located in Waterford, we're your go-to for top-notch dental care in a relaxed, friendly setting. Whether you need a routine checkup, a cosmetic boost, or advanced treatment, our experienced team has you covered. Enjoy the game with confidence and comfort. Schedule your appointment today. Waterford Dental Health, where your smile is our top priority. Visit us online or call now to book. That sight can only mean one thing. Everyone has gone home. No, it's time for penalty kicks here in the second of the 2 championship games. I jest because there's a deja vu going on. We just did this in the first game, and this game resembles the first one in a lot of ways except for the scoring. In so much as New London dominated possession, outplayed Montville for much of the game, but Montville hung on, got it to the overtimes, got it to penalty kicks, and the keeper was, I think, more, was fresher and ready to go. In this one, East Lyme dominated possession, had some genuine scoring chances. Woodstock really did not. Woodstock was content getting it into overtime. They did. They survived 2 overtimes, and now we're in PKs. So Eli Susi, the Woodstock goalie, will be the first one in the pipes, and Max Montahano will have the first PK for East Lyme. Official Tim Viveras talking it over with Susi. Montahano, the right footer, takes a deep drop, 10 steps, so he'll do the run up. And we're underway, 5 each to see who wins the Division I championship. Montahano approaches calmly and goes and hooks it into the left side of the net. Susi guessed right, but that's one of those ones where outside of Division I and pro soccer, you don't see many keepers long enough to be able to get to that ball as it was curling into the side of the net.
Yeah, he guessed right, but a little stutter step for Montahano, kind of trying to deke him about which side he's going to go to. Hit it stiff enough to get that ball in the back of net outside the on-stretched arm of Susi.
Garrett Bushy up now for Woodstock. Bushy goes top shelf over the diving Oliver Lopez, buries that one. There was no save to be had there either.
That is the best spot to take a pen in all situations, but it's also one of the riskiest spots, right? Because you're dealing with, does it sail, does it hit a post? But if that ball's placed like that, virtually unsavable.
Ryan Wargo up next for East Lyme. Montahano the junior, Wargo the senior. Susi back on his line, awaiting Wargo. Susi low, rocking back and forth. Wargo approaches. Susi with the save!
Nice job by Susi. comes off his line, cuts off the angle, dives to right, outstretched arm, knocking that ball wide of the post. Well hit by Wargo. You got to tip your cap to the keeper. He made a nice save.
Up next, Riley Wilcox played a fabulous game on the back line for Woodstock. He was very active defensively, and he has a chance to put the Centaurs up 2-1 in the penalty kick phase.
Everything goes out the window once you get beyond regulation and overtime. Anyone's game here. 5 versus 5 and 2 keepers.
Ali Lopez in the net, waits for it. Wilcox approaches, and he slips it hard past Lopez, who guessed right. 2-1 Centaurs.
Great attempt by Lopez to get to that side here. I thought for a moment he might get a hand on it, but just wide of his hand on that far post on the Woodstock goal. 2-1 after 2 rounds.
Tegan Dunn, junior defenseman, up next for East Lyme. Susie in his low crouch, ready to explode. Dunn approaches and gets it underneath Susie on a little hesitation. Lets Susie go, slipped it down, ties things up 2-2.
If that ball doesn't dip towards the goal line there, I think actually Susie saves that ball, but it kind of just dips under his hand at the goal line and finds the back of the net for East Lyme.
Armbruster with a short approach for Woodstock, and he buries it. Upper left. That is just a rocket from Armbruster. They are 3 for 3, are the Centaurs.
Yeah, another really difficult pen to save. Credit to Woodstock. 2 of their 3 have been really difficult penalty kicks to save here, and Woodstock up 3-2 after 3 rounds. 2 to go.
Evan Malarney up next for East Lyme. This is a crucial one. Otherwise, it guarantees Woodstock moves at least on to the next round. Malarney fools Susie, goes the other way, ties us at 3.
3-3 halfway through the 4th round here. This is an important pen for Woodstock here.
Derek Rodriguez Arenas. If Arenas can knock this one in, again, it guarantees that Woodstock cannot lose in this session. Rodriguez Arenas approaches. Hesitation. Goes low. Beats Lopez. Woodstock is on the brink. If Susie can make this save, or if Cal Scott does not get this in, Woodstock wins. If Cal Scott can get this one to go home, it will at least give Ali Lopez a chance and see if they can propel East Lyme into a second round. Woodstock is 4 for 4. Callaway Scott. Eli Susie on his line. Scott approaches, and he slips it down inside the left post, and East Lyme goes 4 for 5. Woodstock is 4 for 4. One more chance for Lopez. And there is the all-conference Centaur, Matt Hernandez, their only first-team all-conference player, with a chance to do something that no one has done this year: defeat East Lyme in the regular season and playoffs. Rodriguez with a chance to make Centaur history. And he sails it high! He sails it high! And we're going to go to another 5 penalty kicks.
A chance for David to slay Goliath, and we will go to a second round of penalties. Another 5. It is not sudden death. Another 5 for each team. In a second round of penalty kicks, we are approaching dawn.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any more exciting. We thought One round of penalty kicks was exciting. Let's have a second round.
And just like that, the first rain that Eastern Connecticut has seen in probably the better part of a month graces us with its presence here at Ledyard High School.
It has not rained, actually more than that, it has not rained since August.
So we got that going for us.
It may have rained since August, but it doesn't feel like that. So now, Colin, here's one of the answer for us. Can any of the same players that went go again?
So not in this round here, of course. You see Mr. Canby, number 17, who actually did not play in today's game. Very talented player in his own right. Kind of a penalty kick specialist. He's off the bench, team kind of stretching around a bit. So he's joining the second five. And so not unusual. You have players that you kind of trust to take these penalties. And so we'll see how it works out. So I think the first one coming up here is all-conference center back Tanner O'Brien.
So Tanner O'Brien will have the first one for the Vikings here. Eli Susi back in net. He made one brilliant save. It looked like it might hold up. But Woodstock's final attempt sailed high. O'Brien, the left foot, approaches. Goes low and beats Susi. 1-0 East Lyme.
It's less about the power behind the kick. It's more about the placement at this point. You know, this is the second round of 5, not because they're lesser players, but because typically they're not your goal-scoring type folks on the field. So it's always interesting seeing the second round who the coaches put forward in these situations.
Matt Jondro, the sophomore, will step in for Woodstock. Lopez has not yet made a save in the penalty kicks, but did survive as one went off frame. Jondro, stutter step, and calmly puts it past Lopez, 1-1. Garrison Biggs will be up next for East Lyme. Biggs, the junior. Outstanding baseball player, multiple sport athlete. Anchors the midfield along with Montejano. Biggs with his chance here in PKs.
Combination of adrenaline, excitement in these situations.
Biggs more sideways than we've seen from many of the others. Approaches and rips it. Upper. That was going up. That might have put a hole in the top of the net. 2-1 East Lyme.
Yeah, nothing but laces. Absolutely crushes that ball. The goal just got in the way.
That's exactly right. Nathan Foucher is up next for Woodstock. Foucher, the junior, against junior Ali Lopez. Foucher approaches, and it's off the crossbar. The same crossbar that has been the best defender on the night. The 5th ball that has been denied by that crossbar.
Ledyard High School maintenance crew will be out here tomorrow with some white paint. That crossbar has been battered and beaten all night long.
And now, Caleb Trost. We know he's got powerful leg. A chance to put East Lyme up 3-1. Trost. Blink and you missed it. That was a rocket.
Yeah, he's known for that heavy foot. We talked about that goal early in the season at NFA. We've seen a blast. We've seen him up in the air. He's definitely a strong player. Someone that East Lyme will depend on heavily over the next 2 seasons as only a sophomore buries the 3rd penalty in round 3 for East Lyme.
Trevor Gold is up next for the Centaurs. They need this one. Gold puts it past Lopez to keep Woodstock alive. Here comes Canby. Fresh off the bench, hasn't played yet. No biggie. I got this. I haven't played, but I'm going to rocket me a little PK action with a chance to put East Lyme in a dominant position. Canby. Susi awaits. And Camby sails it wide.
Just knocks it wide there, missing the frame. East Lyme up 3-0 halfway through the fourth set. I'm sorry, 3-2 halfway through the fourth set.
Logan Rawson. Rawson needs to make this to tie it at 3. Rawson approaches. And a split by Lopez. Can't get it. We're tied at 3. One more for each team. East Lyme will send Alex Rindell. Rindell, the junior. Susi, the Woodstock keeper. Rindell approaches from the left and buries it. East Lyme 4, Woodstock 3. Woodstock's final attempt from Sean Mugaga. If Mugaga can score, we're going to do it again. If Lopez can make the save or if Mugaga misses, the Vikings will be champions. Lopez would love to make the save and send East Lyme to the championship. Mugaga looking to extend. He approaches. The save made by Lopez. Vikings win! Vikings win! Back-to-back championships for the Vikings. Wally Christensen and his East Lyme Vikings stay undefeated. They are the champions of Division I.
Back-to-back championships here in the ECC Finals in Division I for the East Lyme Vikings. The undefeated East Lyme Vikings will head into the postseason state tournament undefeated in the ECC, in Class L, East Lyme High School.
Well, you're going to want to stay tuned to our social media at Game Day CT so you can check out the Scient play of the game as well as my interview with the Philomena's player of the game day as well as the interview with head coach Wally Christensen. We'll keep it here for awards and for post-game viewing, but we're going to sign off and go down for the interviews and the highlights. So, Colin, it has been an absolute pleasure again. Let's do this again next year. Tomorrow night, from New London High School, volleyball takes center stage in the ECC Championship Week. Congratulations to the Montville Wolves and the East Lyme Vikings, champions of the ECC. Stay tuned. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could direct your attention to center field, where Scott Elliott and Joe Pishka are here to present Mr. Paul Christensen and East Lyme Vikings their championship plaque. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your 2024 Division I Most Outstanding Player from East Lyme High School, Tegan Dunn. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Ledyard High School and the Eastern Connecticut Conference, thank you for coming out and enjoying our soccer games tonight. Best of luck to all teams in the state tournament.